NCDC announces 1,483 new COVID-19 cases. Supreme Court declines Abacha's family's request to access frozen foreign accounts. Across Africa, bodies of Ivorian peacekeepers killed in Mali return home. Libya finds more mass graves in city Haftar forces held. On the international scene, Trump's impeachment Senate trial delayed until February. In business, the IMF urges deficit control even as protesters demand jobs in Tunisia. Nigeria's central bank threatens to shut accounts of diaspora remittance violators. Details shortly. Welcome and thanks for staying with us. This is Tostv, your digital first Pan-African network. I am Kamian John, and this is 2AS News 360. We start with COVID-19 updates in Nigeria, where the Nigerian Center for Disease Control has recorded 1,483 cases of COVID-19, bringing the total number of infections in the country to 118,138. This was disclosed on its official website on Friday. The news agency of Nigeria reports that the country has so far tested 1,225,179 people since the first confirmed case of COVID-19 was recorded on February 27, 2020 in the country. The Public Health Agency has also confirmed additional 5 coronavirus-related deaths, bringing the death toll in Nigeria to 1,490. The NCDC said that the new infections were from 22 states, the Federal Capital Territory, and it stated that Kaduna State reported the highest number of infections with 554 new cases, and the FCT came second with 235 new infections. The public health institution noted that 504 people have been successfully treated and discharged from various isolation centers across the country. Now to the matter of corruption, where the Supreme Court has again refused the request by Ali Abacha, brother to the late head of state, General Sani Abacha, to unfreeze the accounts traced to him and relatives of the late Abacha in the United Kingdom, Switzerland, Jersey, Liechtenstein, and Luxembourg. In a unanimous judgment delivered on Friday by a 5-man panel of the court, the Apex Court held that Ali Abacha's case was statute barred when it was commenced in April of 2004 at the Federal High Court in Kaduna. In the lead judgment prepared by Justice Kadirat Kerike Ekun, but read by Justice Ejimbi Eko, the court held that having dismissed a similar appeal in an earlier judgment delivered in February of 2020, it has no reason to depart from that reasoning in the case brought by Minister Abba Mohammed Sani on behalf of the Abacha family. Ali Abacha had filed several suits at the Federal High Court, Kaduna, in 2004, challenging, amongst others, the 1999 decision by the Olusegun Obasanjo administration, acting through the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Kalu Agabi, SAN, to request the freezing of all accounts traced to the late Abacha, his family members and relatives in the United Kingdom, Switzerland, Jersey, Liechtenstein, and Luxembourg. Meanwhile, the non-teaching staff of the federal universities have resolved to embark on a nationwide strike come February 5th over the non-implementation of the agreement entered with the federal government, an official has revealed. The non-teaching staff is under the aegis of Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SANU, and Non-Academic Staff Union of Universities and Educational Institutions, NASU. Peter Adeyemi, NASU General Secretary, confirmed the strike is a joint news conference by the leadership of the Joint Action Committee, JAC, of the unions on Friday in Abuja. Adeyemi said the demands of the union include inconsistency in the implementation of the Integrated Personnel Payroll and Information System, IPPIS, non-payment of earned allowances, and non-payment of arrears of national minimum wage. He said others were delayed in the registration of the the FG/NASU and SANU 2009 agreement, non-payment of retirement benefits of outgone members, neglect, and poor funding of state universities. This is your digital first Pan-African network, Tostv network. You are watching TOS News 360. Up next are stories across Africa and developments on the international scene after the break. Do stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. And now to developments on the international scene, where a United Nations plane flew the bodies of Ivorian peacekeepers killed in Mali home on Friday. On the ground, the head of the UN peacekeeping mission in Mali, government officials, and the soldiers' families waited to receive them. The head of the UN peacekeeping mission in Mali was full of praises for the fallen servicemen. The men were killed when their armored truck hit an improvised explosive device IED during a patrol on the road to Timbuktu in central Mali on January 13. The makeshift bombs have also killed 60 UN peacekeepers in Mali. This will be an opportunity to express to all the families what we feel towards these brothers, your husbands, your parents who paid the ultimate price, their commitment for peace for the country and for the sub-region, said Ivorian Prime Minister Hamed Bayayoko. The 13,000-strong MINUSMA peacekeeping force has suffered 146 hostile deaths since it was first established in 2023. Now, forensic teams in Libya have discovered 10 more bodies in mass graves in a once militia-controlled town outside the capital, Tripoli. The government of the National Accord said on Thursday the United Nations has voiced horror when the mass graves were first discovered last June. Since then, more than 120 bodies have been exhumed in that city, including women and children, following the latest findings. Khalifa Haftar have used Tahuna as the main staging point for his falling attempt to seize the capital in a military offensive launched in April of 2019. New York-based Human Rights Watch has said more than 300 people have been abducted or reportedly missing in the past in Tahuna, which is now back under GNA control. Now, Libya has been whacked by violence since a NATO-backed uprising toppled and killed longtime dictator Muammar Gaddafi in 2011. The conflict pit the GNA, recognized by the United Nations and backed by Turkey, against the Eastern-based administration of Haftar, supported by Egypt, the United Arab Emirates, and Russia. A ceasefire was signed in October, and the rival camps have since agreed to a UN-sponsored political dialogue with presidential and legislative elections scheduled for later in the year. Now, Republicans and Senate Democrats have reached an agreement to allow the second impeachment trial of former U.S. President Donald Trump to begin next month. The House of Representative Democrats have accused Trump of instigating the deadly riot at the U.S. Capitol that took place on the 6th of January. They will send a charge to the Senate on Monday, but argument will not begin until the second week of February. This will give Trump's lawyer 2 weeks to build a defense. The office of the Senate Republican leader Mitchell McConnell said he was glad Schumer agreed to his request for more time during the pre-trial phase, and that the trial itself will begin on February the 9th. In his words, and I quote, "That goal has been achieved. This is a win for due process and fairness," end of quote. On Friday, President Biden suggested a preference for a later trial, as he would rather focus on more pressing issues at the moment. The White House will not say whether Biden thinks Trump should be convicted. New protocols require international visitors to present negative COVID-19 test results conducted no more than 72 hours before boarding a flight to Canada. This will be in addition to a mandatory 2-week quarantine on arrival. However, health officials are proposing further restrictions on incoming travelers to make it difficult for visitors to enter the country in a bid to manage the increase of new cases. Health officials have also confirmed 6 cases of the UK variant and 3 cases of the South African variant of the coronavirus in British Columbia. These variants are believed to be more contagious, and the British Columbia Center for Disease Control have reported that 4 cases of the UK variant were related to travel, while the other 2 were related to close contact with the initial patients. This is your digital first Pan-African network, Tostv network. You are watching TOS News 360. Up next, business and sports. After the break, do stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. Now to developments in business, where the Central Bank of Nigeria has frowned at activities of some international money transfer operators, IMTOs, and unlicensed companies who continue to felicitate diaspora remittance into the country in Naira. The Apex Bank's reaction follows the contravention of its earlier directive that all diaspora remittance must be paid to the beneficiaries in dollars. This disclosure was contained in a circular titled Modalities for Payout of Diaspora Remittance issued by the CBN on Friday, January 22, 2021, and signed by its Director Trade and Exchange Department, Dr. O.S. Naji. The Apex Bank in the circular said that the measures were intended to promote transparency, grow diaspora remittance, and significantly improve foreign exchange inflows into the country. It warned that strict sanctions, including withdrawal of operation license, shall be imposed on any individual or institution found to be aiding, abetting, or directly contravening these guidelines. It went further to say that it shall not hesitate to authorize the closure of the accounts of unlicensed operators in Nigerian banks, including being barred from accessing banking services across the country. With the instance of the Apex Bank on its earlier directive, it means that Nigerians living in the diaspora can transfer foreign currency to their relatives and loved ones in the country, who in turn will withdraw the money in dollars, cash, and sell anywhere they so desire. This, the Apex Bank believes, will help to stabilize the exchange rate and discourage hoarding. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, warned that Tunisia's fiscal deficit could exceed 9% of gross domestic product (GDP) and urged the country to control energy subsidies, transfers to state companies, and wages, even as protesters demand jobs and economic development. Violent protests have hit Tunisia at a time of unprecedented economic hardship in the North African country, which ran a fiscal deficit of 11.5% of GDP in 2020, the highest in nearly 40 years. The 2021 budget aims to cut the fiscal deficit to 6.6%, but the IMF, following a mission in Tunisia, issued a statement on Friday calling for specific measures to back the objective. Government wages more than doubled to about 20 billion dinars in 2021 from 7.6 billion dinars in 2010. Tunisia expects a GDP growth of 3.8% this year, compared with a record contraction of 8.2% in 2020. And now to sports, where the World Athletics President, Chief Lord Sebastian Coe, has admitted that the rescheduled Tokyo Games may have to be held behind closed doors this year if they are to go ahead in Japan. Lord Coe stated that in the event of a cancellation, it was not a realistic solution to push back Paris 2024 and Los Angeles 2028 in order for Tokyo to host the Olympics in 3 years' time. Torishino Muto, Tokyo 2020 chief executive, said a global rollout of COVID-19 vaccines could be a key factor in the success of the Games. He added that and was quoted as saying, and I quote, "Once vaccinations are conducted widely in US and Europe, I think there is no doubt that it will have a positive effect on the games." British Olympic Association chief Andy Anson, in an interview with the BBC, said that there was no plan B and that he had been told the games would go ahead as scheduled. In his words, and I quote, "The noise doesn't help. It doesn't help the outlets. They need to focus on preparing for the games. We are hearing consistently from the IOC and Tokyo, they are going ahead. It's just a question of how." Francis Oboro, recently re-elected president of the Nigerian Polo Federation (NPF), says he is committed to consolidating on the progress recorded in the growth of the sport in the country regardless of attendant challenges. Oboro, who spoke on Thursday, said the rising popularity of polo among several states in Nigeria is indicative of the Federation's quest to develop the sport. He said, and I quote, "My plan to expand the frontiers of polo in Nigeria would be sustained to truly reflect the country's status as a powerhouse of African polo." Polo is gaining ground in cities like Yenagoa, Makurdi, Lokoja, Gombe, Arugungu, while the return of Zaria, Maiduguri, and Sokoto to national limelight has encouraged the Federation to host 2 tournaments in a month to enable all accredited clubs to hold their annual tournaments within the season, notwithstanding the challenges posed by COVID-19 pandemic. Now, Oboro was re-elected by the delegates at the 2021 election into the Executive Management Committee of the Nigerian Polo Federation in Jos Plateau State, North Central Nigeria, earlier in the month. Now, before we go, reports reaching us that the iconic TV and radio broadcaster Larry King, who interviewed anyone worth interviewing over a career spanning 6 decades, died Saturday at the age of 87. The company he co-founded, Aura Media, did not state a cause of death, but media reports say King had been battling COVID-19 for weeks and had suffered several health problems in recent years. King, with his trademark suspenders and black rim glasses, was best known for a 25-year run as a talk show host on CNN's Larry King Live. And that's it on TOS News 360. Your digital-first Pan-African network. For more updates, do visit our website, www.tostvnetwork.com. Do follow and like TOS TV Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And remember to subscribe to our YouTube page. TOS TV is also available on TSTV as TOS News on channel 138. Do stay with us.